President Denise Reese.
Here.
Governing Board Clerk John Sparks.
Here.
Governing Board Member Sherry Lowe.
Here.
Governing Board Member Kevin Opalka.
Here.
Governing Board Member Nicole Warner.
Here.
District Administration Superintendent Dr. Manuel Valenzuela.
Present.
Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs. Absent. Assistant Superintendent Brett Bonner. Chief Financial Officer Lisette Huey.
Here. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 2, approval of the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, Madam President, Reese, members of the board. At this time, I would recommend approval of the revised agenda as it is presented.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item B, approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, Madam President, Reese, members of the board and public. You have in your packet draft copies of the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the board way back on August the 24th, 2022. Additionally, you have copies of the notice pertaining to the special meeting for August the 30th, 2022. And finally, you have public notice about the gathering of the board at the Arizona School Board Association Law Conference from September 7th through 9th, 2022. And after your review of all of those documents, I would recommend approval at this time.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, ratification of the vouchers. Ms. Huey.
Good evening. Tonight, I recommend payroll voucher ratification number 4 and 5, new payroll 9 and 10 for total payroll of $9,467,047.09. Additionally, I recommend expense vouchers 1113 through 1020 and new expense vouchers 1031 through 1034 for total expense approval of $9,273,983.79 for a grand total of $18,741,030.88.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, item 3, superintendent reports. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I do have a few things to share this evening. We always begin with our enrollment report. And as you can see, there's more green than red on the chart. And again, this is the data just since the last governing board meeting back on August 24th. As you can see, we've increased an additional 26 students from the prior meeting, sitting at 6,384 students. And I would also note from the other graph there that that is 114 students over the same time in prior year. So the growth is continuing to move slowly, but in the positive direction, which is how we like it. And I also just wanted to mention, I just heard this today. I had some communication with the Dean of Dual Enrollment and Community and High School Outreach at Pima Community College, James Palacios, who told me that one of our graduates, Soleil Lucero Lugo, was being recognized and featured at the meeting of the governing board this evening of Pima Community College. And she's being profiled and recognized for her efforts to gain 23 dual enrollment credits during her time as a student at Sahuarita High School. She graduated in class of 22. And I think it's neat because if you think back to college days, I know it was a long time ago for me, but when I think back to it, 23 credits is almost a full year of full-time basic enrollment. So I'm really honored and pleased that we've been able to work with Pima under Mr. Bonner's leadership to really build the opportunities for our students to take advantage of these programs. Very, very cool. I may have some pictures of another really cool thing from the Rotarians, the new Rotary Club in Sahuarita. So I guess it's called the Rotary Club of Sahuarita, and specifically Dr. Randy Vandersnat. He's a local physician, been practicing for a long time, but he's kind of a man of many talents, very much into service. And Randy's an author. He wrote a kid's book called what every seed needs to learn. And it's about seeds and growth, and they're very beautifully illustrated. So they got funding from the Rotary Club, and they are in the process of presenting every single kindergarten student with a personalized book, their very own book. What a great way to start kindergarten. And the Rotarians come and read to the students. And in addition to reading to the students, he also, if you read the book, he calls himself Grandpa Gardener. And so he actually comes and he teaches the kids how to garden, and they actually plant some seeds. So just another example that just showcases the specialness of our community. Very proud of that. I'd like to remind the board that tomorrow is the monthly board lunch. And this month it is at Copper View Elementary School at 11 o'clock a.m. For those that are available and able to come, I will look forward to meeting you at Copper View at that time. And finally, I'd like to share with the board and also with the public that next Wednesday, the 21st, right here, actually next door in the big hall, the main hall of the auditorium, we'll be hosting a community conversation focused on the very, very important issue of student safety. And we're going to talk about various aspects of student safety, from education to physical enhancements of our facilities, to procedures, routines, collaborations with law enforcement. We're going to have a wonderful panel. Sheriff Chris Nanos, the Pima County Sheriff, will be here, along with one of his senior staff, our own Chief John Nolan from Sahuarita Police Department, senior command staff from over there, Commander Allred, of course, will be here. Chief Chuck Wonder from the Green Valley Fire District, and Chief Isahard from the Rural Metro Fire Department will be here. So it'll be great. They'll have information. There will be an opportunity for questions and answers. And, this safety is never ending, and it really is a community effort. So hopefully we'll see a lot of you here next Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the main hall for that conversation. And I believe with that, I've completed my report. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Valenzuela. Moving on to the governing board reports. Mr. Alpaca.
Thank you. Wanted to, share the great opportunity we had last week to participate in the ASBA Law Conference. Get together with about 1,100 different board members, superintendents, HR representatives up in the Phoenix area, and review the different aspects of law that are pertinent to student education and public education here in Arizona, coming out of the last legislative session. So that's a great opportunity for us to learn some of the new things that are coming down the pike, and the adjustments that we need to do to our policies in the coming year to stay up to date. So pretty informative stuff.
Thank you. Ms. Werner.
In addition to that, I would just like to thank some of our donors. Aside from the Rotary Club, we had some very generous donations from the Green Valley Community Chorus, and also the Marion P. Gallen High School Sports Endowment. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Dr. Sparks.
Just as I walk around campus and spend time on campus, I've used the new video entrance systems at various schools. I'm grateful that that's moving forward and in place. And I think as I remind my children, like, we're right about 3 weeks till the quarter break. So I think the school year is moving along, and it's fun to see all the activities and runners running through the parking lot today, and football games on Friday. And it just, walking through one of the campuses, one of the teachers said to me, "Fess, it feels like a real year." And I think I wholeheartedly kind of feel that sentiment, that there's a sentiment of feeling that while we're still having our struggles and issues that we're dealing with and returning to this kind of normalcy, it feels normal this year, which I'm grateful for. So, and I always love it when there's a ton of people here. So thank you all for being here tonight.
Okay. Ms. Lowell.
I'd just like to reiterate the informative time that we had at the law conference with all the information that we had. It was probably one of the best law conferences I've been to in the last 6 years, with all the information coming through and sharing experiences with other board members. I think that information helps us to govern and it was really informative. I'd also like to thank all the administration and all those who are keeping track of social media and keeping us updated. It's nice to know when things are happening and what's going on so that we can pop in. And I'm on all of the social media sites all the time. So I just really appreciate that attention of keeping our community up to date. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then from my perspective today, again, just thank you all for being here tonight to support your students. These meetings that we have that celebrate our students and their accomplishments is absolutely one of our favorite times that we get to do for these meetings. And so I'm grateful that you're here to support your students, and grateful for the teachers that are in the group supporting their students that way, and for the reports that we're receiving tonight. So thank you so much. Moving on, recognition of staff, students, and community. Staff recognition. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. You know, one of the greatest joys that I have in my role is to work with an amazing, professional, student-centered, and tirelessly dedicated group of people who share commitment to this noble work we do to educate the future of our great country. And, you know, half of the 860 plus employee team members that we have in Sahuarita Unified School District are members of our support staff team. These are the bus drivers, that drive our buses, the custodians that keep our campuses sanitary and clean. These are our instructional aides and paraprofessionals that provide direct instructional support. These are also our administrative support folks that work in our offices, make sure that the business and the operations of school is taking place, or the people that are making sure that the physical buildings are in good condition. They're half of our employee team members, and they make a vital difference. So this award program, the Support Staff Employee of the Month, recognizes one per month who's been distinguished and evaluated through a nomination process and deemed to exemplify the highest ideals of excellence and our core values of excellence, service, and integrity. And I now defer to Mr. Downs. He's going to tell us about this month's, I would say, this month's honoree, this year's first honoree. Mr. Downs.
Thank you, Dr. Valenzuela. Before I begin, who would you like to recommend to give the plaque?
I believe that Mrs. Lowell is the presenter of the awards this evening.
All right, thank you. Again, thank you, Dr. Valenzuela. We have so many wonderful classified employees, and it's really hard to pick one per month out of 450 people, so it's quite an honor to be selected. We receive many applications, or nominations, I should say, from all the schools, but without any further ado, it is my pleasure to read this nomination from Dr. Desi Ralston and the Copperview team. They have nominated Mrs. Debbie Keith as the Sahuarita Unified School District Support Staff Member of the Month. Debbie Keith has worked for the Sahuarita Unified School District for 22 years. She has worked at Copperview for the past 4. Debbie loves getting to know the staff and families so she can truly support them in a consistent and organized way. Debbie is an amazing inclusion health assistant. She works from the heart. She absolutely loves children and demonstrates daily by her interactions with them. She works with students who have those special needs, and she is the one who takes on a leadership role to support teachers and staff because she loves them so much. Debbie is not afraid to take on tough tasks, and she is thoughtful to the needs of teachers, students, and everyone she works with at Copperview. She truly does this job for the love of it, and she is a role model for others. She provides a safe and calming environment for students. We are honored to work with Debbie. So again, Mrs. Debbie Keith, Sahuarita Unified School District Support Staff Member of the Month.
Congratulations. The next item on our agenda is student recognition. Dr. Valenzuela.
President Reese, members of the board, I think you would call this another one of our very, very, very favorite things to do at these board meetings, and that is recognize the amazing young people that we have as students in all of our schools. It's hard to believe, but this is year 16 of this program we know as the Leader in Character program. And it really started with a very simple idea. Number one, character does count. Number two, citizenship matters. And that these virtues are a vital part of a well-rounded, high-quality education. And so we ventured out on a quest to recognize students who demonstrate through their daily actions with their peers, how they interact with others, how they conduct themselves in the classroom, the example that they set around campus, as demonstrating the highest levels of conduct, leadership by example, and in doing so serve as positive role models for their entire school community and certainly for their peers. So we've been doing this for 16 years. Green Valley News has been a partner from the beginning. Freeport-McMoRan, Copper and Gold, one of the major employers in our area. And so we recognize, we started with one student per month, and then we built some of these schools that have both elementary and middle school, so we allowed some of those bigger K-8s to have two. But we recognize a very select number every month. We invite their parents, and I know it's one of the board's greatest joys to recognize them, to celebrate them. We give them a little certificate along with a letter, and I believe we still have gift cards that we provide them to recognize them. And I think, of course, being educators, we give them gift cards to a place where they can buy books. I think it's Barnes & Noble or well, I don't think Borders is around anymore. Barnes & Noble or Amazon or one of those, so they can buy more books and read more good stuff. So with that, this evening, board member Lowell is going to do the honors of do the presentations. When your name is called, please come down here and receive your award. Mr. Bonner will help guide you. We have the routine. He'll probably guide you up to the steps. And then after you're all up there, we'd like to take a picture of all of you because we want the whole world to know how wonderful you are. We're going to put you in the newspaper. And then at that point, parents, we'd love you to stay. We actually have a really neat presentation this evening about summer school, but we also understand there's homework and stuff to do. If you have to leave, it's okay. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. We will start with the Leader in Character from Sopari Elementary School. Congratulations, Jorge Jimenez Guerrero. Jorge, come on down. And then we'll go to Anza Trail. Like I said, they have two. They have almost 1,400 students there, and they have basically elementary and middle school. So we'll start with elementary. And their Leader in Character at Anza Trail is a 5th grader for elementary. Congratulations, Tyrus Bickett. Tyrus, come on down. Our middle school Leader in Character from Anza Trail School is an 8th grader. Congratulations, Zuri Sanchez. And we now come over to the main campus where it is my honor to announce the Leader in Character from Sahuarita Primary School. Congratulations, Alvaro Moreno. Our next honoree this evening is looks like a 5th grader from Sahuarita Intermediate School. Congratulations, Isabella Salcedo. Come on down. And at Copperview School, it is my honor to tell you that the Leader in Character is 4th grader Bianca Dedamore. Congratulations to her. And now we will move across the street to Wrightson Ridge. Wrightson Ridge again has 2 leaders in character, beginning with a kindergarten student. How's that for making a quick impression, right? Congratulations, kindergartner leader in character, Gia Martinez. Congratulations, Gia. And still at Wrightson Ridge, we recognize the leader in character for middle school. Congratulations, Salomon Borboa. And moving to Sahuarita Middle School, we have another 7th grader who is the leader in character from SMS. Congratulations, Logan Gardner. Come on down. At Sahuarita High School, it is my honor to tell you that their leader in character is a freshman. Congratulations, Desiree Dicochea. And from our other high school, Walden Grove High School, the leader in character is a senior. Congratulations, Preston Hussman. And as you know, we have a whole new school, our virtual academy, Sahuarita Digital Pathways Academy. And the leader in character this month from SDPA is an 8th grader. Congratulations, Gianna Bonillas. See Gianna, we will make sure that she receives her award. And with that, we will go ahead and take the picture. I think Mr. Bonner usually invites parents. If any of you want to come down and get a better angle on the picture, you can. It's okay. We're very proud of all these students. And as soon as Amber gets you set up, you all, big smiles. Come on, be proud. There you go. Beautiful. Hey, let's give them all a round of applause. Congratulations. Keep setting the pace for excellence. We're very, very proud. Woo! There's a future honoree right there. You better believe it. Me too. Me too.
Okay, our next item of business is call to the public. Ms. Palacios, did we have any submissions for call to the public? Okay, we will move on then. Moving on to new business instruction, the summer school presentation. Dr. Valenzuela.
Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. I want y'all just for a moment just to think back to your own experience. I'll think back on mine. Mine was longer than any of yours probably, but I remember when summer school was like this thing that you really didn't want to be a part of. It was like you had to go to summer school. Well, first of all, schools changed a lot, and really learning doesn't and shouldn't ever end, right? It should be an ongoing, regular, continuous process. But I'm here to tell you that our programs have continued to evolve and grow to the point where summer is a place where young people want to be. This program has continued to grow, as you'll see. This year it was unique in that it was significantly paid for through our federal relief funds through the pandemic era. And it was more subscribed and bigger and maybe better than ever. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Bonner to introduce our presenters and any other introductory comments he'd like to make.
Thank you, Dr. Valenzuela, members of the governing board, members of the community. I would like to first just recognize our summer school leaders that are here today that will present shortly. We have Trina Zimmerman, who coordinates the kindergarten through 8th grade summer program, housed at Onta Trail, but open to all SUSD schools. And then our summer school coordinator, Ms. Megan Burr, who works with all of our high school students at our high school summer school program. These last 2 years have been very tough and challenging with the COVID era, and we know there's been many implications and impact specific to academics, mental health, closing the gap, family stress, and we're still navigating through that process. I'm starting to see research coming out now. In fact, I read an article today about some of the impacts and implications of COVID and what's working well to help close that learning loss and to support students. And I was proud to see in a national study that came out that showed recovery strategies nationally that are effective, and we're doing those. And the big three are this: increase mental health services, which we're doing, provide summer school for students, which we're doing, K-12, and we'll have free summer school again next year through ESSER grant funds. And the third one is to provide tutoring support, and we're doing that as well. And that's also ESSER funded, and that's carrying on again this year. So of the big three that we're seeing national trends of growth and support, we're doing right here in our community. So I'm really proud of those efforts. I'd like to thank all of our teachers, support staff, summer school leaders, our administrators for making these programs effective and helping our kids that are in need and providing these resources. So with that today, I'd like to introduce Ms. Zimmerman and Mrs. Burr, who will give an oversight and overview of this past summer's program, share a few highlights, talk about the program objectives, our impact this past summer, and then open up for any questions that the board may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. And good evening, President Reese, Dr. Valenzuela, and members of the board. Like Mr. Bonner said, I'm Trina Zimmerman, and I have been the coordinator for the summer school program for the past 13 years. Our program originated in 2008. This summer, we had 4 weeks of our summer program, May 31st through June 23rd. We always run our program Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to noon. And we're open to any Sahuarita Unified Current kindergarten through 8th grade students. And just like Mr. Bonner and Dr. Valenzuela said, we were grant funded this year, so there was no tuition, where in the past years we have been tuition based. So we had a very, very healthy waiting list this year of students that wanted to get in. Generally, we have a pretty good waiting list, but this year was exceptional. Our goals every year are to continue the academic engagement outside of the regular academic school year and to provide enrichment activities that benefit the learning experiences for all of our students, and as well as provide that academic support in literacy and math. This year, our students were able to participate in daily literacy and math classes, and then a rotating schedule of enrichment with STEM exploration, music and movement, and art history and application. We had 205 students initially enrolled. Our max was really 200, and we sort of filled in some classes that weren't quite, so that to even out numbers. So we got to 205, and then you can see we tried to spread them off around across all of our campuses. Ms. Woods over here helped us come up with a calculation to have equitable numbers across all campuses based on the school size, and then we were able to give priority to our at-risk students. This is our summer school crew 2022. So we also had teachers from across the district representing kindergarten through 8th grade teachers. And then we had some special guests. The SUSD SRO officer, Officer Perry, was able to join us. We had Sherry Mulholland from the Funhouse Movement Theater. And then we had outreach teachers from the Tucson Children's Museum join us as well. Every summer, we send a survey out to our parents to ask them about their students' academic needs, their interests, to gather quick information for the summer program. We're also able to access their iReady data to help for some more academic information as well. We provide a newsletter which overviews our program and gives the parents some specific information. And then at the end of the program, we provide them with a progress report that gives them specific feedback about their students' progress, about the standards that were taught, any assessments that were given, as well as personal growth. And beyond, assessments that we take, we like to look at our students' successes and that they were engaged and excited to be in the program. We had hands-on projects and experiments. We definitely focused in on our cultural appreciations and interests. We were able to give challenges and extensions within our activities. Students solved real-world problems. They worked in small groups and collaborated with teamwork. Students themselves give us a lot of positive feedback and are usually really excited to be part of the program. And as the program is ending, they say, "Oh, it's over. You can't do this in July." So it's really nice to get that positive feedback. My own children. And then we have supports for social emotional learning, and we always try to involve some sort of movement. This year we were able to add the Funhouse Movement Theater into our program that really focused on spatial awareness and students' body movement and awareness. So here are some great pictures. We have a couple of slides of pictures. So these are students working together, collaborating with different science and movement activities. Some of our pictures are sideways, I apologize. And here we see students working in groups with their teachers, in reading groups, in math groups. A couple of them are making roller coasters in the science exploration class with Miss Tanner, and then a couple with the Children's Museum outreach program. And speaking of the outreach program, it was funded through Freeport-McMoran, and we had once a week, the Children's Museum came out to do mini lessons and activities, experiments with every grade level. And they did everything from motion to matter to biomes. It was really, they catered it to each of our grade levels. And then additionally, we were able to have the Funhouse Movement Theater with Sherry Mulholland come out and do a mini internship with our students. So they were able to focus, like I said earlier, on their spatial awareness, their body awareness, and focus in on time, space, and energy. Some of our students were able to learn pre-choreographed dances, and others were able, the older students were able to choreograph their own dance in that short amount of time they got to spend with Miss Mulholland. And as always, we look forward to our future summers. And as Mr. Bonner said, we will continue the grant-funded program next year for our summer program. And we really always appreciate your support. What questions do you have about our program?
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Just a heartfelt thank you for continuing to take this on. I know teachers who participate in this program every year because they love the experience that they get with the students. So it's great, and so thank you very much.
Trina, I'm just curious, have you done it every single year since '08?
Yeah. Well, we had to skip the one summer because of COVID. So we weren't able. So we've had 12 summers in 13 years since Mr. Bonner and I were able to create it 13 years ago.
That's great.
Madam President.
Yes.
Is the number always been 200, or has that grown over the years? That feels like it's grown. Right?
It has grown, yeah. When the program started, we had 6 teachers, and it's grown to 8 and 10, and now we have 12 teachers. At this point, we are still trying to make it feasible to continue into the future, even though maybe with some of the grant funds, we could have made it much bigger for 1 year. That really wasn't something that we could do long term. But 12 teachers, the 200 kids is as big as we've been.
Very cool. And I'm grateful for the sustainability perspective, because as we offer programs, even as we're trying to catch up and make decisions about that funding, it's important that we could feasibly commit to continue to do that. And I know the parents that I know have been in the program and their children have been, that's talk about it. It makes a significant impact on their educational experience. And so I'm grateful for that, because it would be nice to continue to grow that, but as we can afford it and make it affordable to more people, I appreciate that. So thank you.
I would just like to say, if you can tell the popularity of a program by how quick people sign up.
Hours.
Like literally hours. If anybody is thinking about it and they're watching this online, watch for the sign up, because boy, those spots just go fast. And that says a lot. It says a lot for the program, and it says a lot for the character of the program. And year over year, people know, they know what they're signing up for. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, we were able to have a very extensive waiting list, but even the night before and the first week, we were able to keep adding students in as families couldn't commit to the 4 weeks of the program. So for those that have added into our waiting list, we were able to get a significant number in even after we were full within hours.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you do have a wait list, and it's important that people realize that. That's good.
Yeah. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll transition now to Mrs. Megan Burr, who has done an exemplary job over the years. We used to outsource our summer school program, and it was always running in the negative. And since Megan Burr has taken leadership, also along with Joe DeFazio, we have been in the positive as far as the budgetary balance, providing more extensive course offerings. We try to alternate between different high school campuses just to show equity in services and in proximity. And Megan Burr has been part of this leadership team from the very beginning. So I'm very grateful for the hard work and commitment that you've done over the years. And I look forward to hearing the highlights of this past summer. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. Good evening, everyone. It's nerve-wracking to be back. I think we've had a couple years off where we didn't have to give our reports, but it has been quite a journey in those 2 years that we haven't had to give our reports in front of the governing board. So it's good to be back and back in person and all those good things that go along with it. It has been a long journey with summer school and lots of adjusting with the pandemic, as in everything else. We did go the 1 year completely online. I believe that was the 19 or the 20 school year. They all run together, right? I mean, it's already the middle of September of this school year. I feel very, things have fast forward. So let's get into this. Excuse my voice. I'm suffering from a head cold. Yes, I've been responsible and done my COVID tests, and that did exist before COVID, a head cold. So we're back into those already. So our program started in May 23rd, right after graduation. We hit the ball running. We did Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 1, which is very unusual for our high schoolers. They have to get up, but they appreciate getting out early. Again, we were scholarship based, and I'll go break down the scholarships later in the presentation. And Our primary students that come are, of course, SHS and Walden Grove High School, but we did have a few outside students come this year, so that was nice and welcoming. And most of those students that come from other districts are coming down for our Spanish classes that we offer. So these were our two primary goals when we started summer school. It's for students to earn their credits or to retake credits. And historically, and later in the slide, you'll see that most of our students are doing the credits for Get Ahead because our students are involved in so many things. When your students are being involved in the bands, the percussions, the jazz bands, flags, drama, photo, our CTE programs that are going to nationals and stuff like that, they need to fill their schedule with those programs and the CTE courses. So this allows them to get some of their core classes out of the way to do those fun things that they've earned to do. I did see a typo here. I'm sorry. This is hurrying up and using and being a little behind. We did not have lunch provided by Walden Grove Grad Night. Lunch was provided via the state again this year, hence why the program, the summer school program, has been hosted at SHS last year and this year was of the community lunch program. So I apologize for that typo. I'm sorry. I didn't catch that. So like we said, we start at 7:30. We do have a 15-minute break in there. We do encourage our kids to get out, go under the trees, get some good vitamin D in that nice 100-degree weather, and stretch. And then our teachers have agreed too that it's nice for them to just kind of pack everything in the morning. They go to lunch, and then they only have that last hour, and students are out by 1 o'clock. So this year it was a bit different. I did put up here what classes we had with teacher instruction and then which ones were with our Edgenuity online learning program. The main difference was with the math. As everyone has experienced a little bit of that tired, coming off of everything with COVID, it was difficult to fill the math positions. So we went ahead and offered it to math teachers, but they could do it through the computer. I think it's just a little bit of everyone's exhausted. And so even us teachers need a break sometimes. So it worked out semi-okay. I'm hoping that we can go back to in-person teaching. We even had some parents who were, did end up pulling their students saying that they would prefer that it would be in-person teaching, but we're all doing the best we can. So that was the big main difference. The other difference was we had, I believe, 3 sections of economics. So the first semester, we actually had economics, both teachers were teaching economics semester A, and then semester B. So that was a difference this year. This is our staff that we had, and as you guys can see, we have a good mix of both campuses of teachers represented. We did have to add Ms. Nisler. She was a quick phone call to Mr. Bonner saying, can we please have an extra person on Edgenuity? Poor Mr. Marshall had a ton of kids in there making up those classes, and so we added Ms. Nisler last minute, and she was fantastic and a great help. Pretty much all of our staff have been here, not quite since we first started, but most of them have, and I don't remember how many years we've been doing this now. It's when you said 13, that sounds like a lot, but who's counting? I don't want to count. That only makes me older. I don't want to face that. So it's nice to see our same returning staff for not only our students, but for Mr. DeFazio and I. It makes it easy. We have a great cohesive group. We all work really well together, and it's really nice. It's a nice blend. So these are the main slides that we all want to see. Our attendance was a record-breaking 341 students this year. With that, 39 of those students never showed a prior to even attending the first day. 26 were removed. 24 of those were for attendance and 2 for discipline. Mr. DeFazio and I proposed to Mr. Bonner at the beginning when we were planning all of this. Attendance has obviously been very difficult, and coming off of COVID and all the transitions, especially at the high school. And it's super important how fast summer school is paced, that students attend and we hold that attendance policy. So we had asked, can we definitely be a good stickler and record of you get 3 tardies, which is 1 absence, and then if you're tardy again, well, that would be your second, so you would be asked to leave, or if you miss 2, you only get 1 absence per semester. So we really stuck to it. So it's unfortunate, but to keep the integrity of the program, I think it was very, very necessary. So again, true to record, we had 193 students that did get ahead, which is amazing. It's remarkable, and it's just a true testament to how our students want to get some of those core classes in, whether they're graduating early or, again, whether they're involved in our fine art programs or our CTE programs. I think that's so amazing. And then we have our credit recovery, which was 148. Then again, we had our ESSER scholarship in our 21st. And also the ESSER paid for all of the staff wages. With 21st Century, we were given 52 scholarships to SHS, 2 to Wrightson, 2 to SMS. And then I believe the 21st Century grant also paid for busing. So I didn't get that slide put back from Mr. Bonner, so my memory was serving me. And that was a huge, huge help. I believe that was kind of like a last minute thing, and it was such a help to help our students get up that freeway. And I believe that is my last slide if anyone has any questions. Again, it was a great year. I asked Mr. DeFazio if he would like to come, but as true educators, we love to speak in front of our students, but to speak in front of our peers, we just as soon not. So Mr. DeFazio is amazing. I appreciate him so much. He's such a great help, and I thank you guys for another great, wonderful summer.
Just to add a little bit more, the goal is to offer the same number count for this coming summer. So we're building it off the same model under the ESSER funded program, along with the goal of the 21st Century Scholarship. So the numbers should look the same as far as scholarships go. The only thing, just so the board is aware, that we cannot fund under ESSER because of federal guidelines are Spanish or foreign language and or PE. But 21st Century grant scholarships can cover those classes. So you can focus on history, math, science, social studies. We just couldn't do Spanish, foreign language, or PE. But we still accepted kids either through 21st Century grant or they did the tuition. So everyone was still accepted.
Yeah, which I believe we use all the 21st Century for the Spanish and PE. There was very, very few who had to pay this year.
Right, just a quick question. 341 students. I just kind of did some quick math. We have about 2,000 high school students in the district. 18 or 20% of them were in summer school.
Yeah.
Last summer, which is amazing.
It's great.
So my question is, given that it has kind of this dual structure where part of it's in person, I understand and would concur with Megan's point about the math, especially trying to bring it back if we can. But given that we have this technology resource, do we have a hard cap on how big this can get, either by intention or by structure? I understand it's different when you're in person. I'm just wondering kind of where your head's at with
That's a
that.
great question. We typically build our budget at 200 students. That's been our overall practice. But because of the advancement of technology resources, and the platform like Edgenuity, we have more grace to expand if kids have interest in the online courses. And there's a lot more variety that we have through Edgenuity. We ran into the issue though, because capacity reached that tipping point, if you will, where we had to bring on Carla Nisler to help Mr. Derek Marshall manage the student accounts with the online courses. So yeah, we could expand more. We could, and it's evident that we did it this way this year. And when we go back in time to tuition based, we can still offer the online courses and we can manage higher numbers of online courses. But the key point that I share the concern with everyone in the room, for those core content areas, we want to have the option of both online but also in-person instruction, especially in those content areas like math and reading, language arts. It was a tough challenge this year. One, we canvassed district-wide. We posted external, trying to get teachers throughout. We called retirees to see if they wanted to teach summer school. We see the value in having real in-person instruction for those content areas. We'll keep that commitment going for next year to bring those back into place. But we did not want to close those sections down for kids that were deficient or needed to get caught up or get ahead. And that's why the online offering worked. But we know that it's really important to have that in-person instruction for all the reasons that we know of having that one-on-one interaction and the accountability support in person. And that's our goal next summer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Madam President.
Yes.
By the way, I love this program. I have 4 children that have taken advantage of this program, all of them, at various times, in the Get Ahead program, and I'm grateful for that. But my question is it feels like to me that over the years we have shifted from a primarily catch-up model to now have grown into a larger portion of doing the Get Ahead model. That's I just looking at the numbers, if I remember correctly in the back of my head, is that what I'm seeing is correct?
Yes, correct. We've always had more that are doing Get Ahead.
And I think that's a direct correlation of what we're doing as a district, where we offer so many more programs, from dual enrollment to AP to more fine arts programs, CTE programs. So students at the high school level have so many choices. And you alluded to this earlier, Mrs. Burr, where if a student knows that their schedule constraints are so much in a given day, they can then take on extra class to either make it up, get ahead. But deficiency role of summer school is starting to level out. It's more of planning ahead, looking at your 4-year plan, your 2-year plan, whatever's left of your high school experience, and mapping out how to get those credits done to support your other programs that you're involved in at the high school level. So it's neat to offer so many options for kids.
And I think that's ultimately my point, is that, for example, my children did it so they could be involved in CTE film and also marching band and concert band for every year. It allows them that space to do that. So I'm just grateful that we not only have it for catch up for individuals who need to retake a class to meet that credit, but also that we have opportunities to allow young people to be flexible and expand their educational options as they move through high school. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Really quick, I did have just a question, but of the kids who are taking the program for credit recovery, are they primarily successful in the summer school program? Does it work for them? Okay. Good.
Yes. So the only students who don't finish or who are not successful would be those students that were removed for the attendance or the 2 discipline.
Okay.
Yes, they finish. Now,
Fantastic.
there might be, I would have to really look at the numbers and the data, but if a student's taking a class online and they have 2 classes that they needed, they start and take all of summer school to do just a semester. But that's why we have Mr. Marshall and Miss Nisler in there to coach them and keep them going so that they can get the other semester course done too. So some kids find that the online learning program is not just a click, pass program. There is validity in it and there is substance to it. And so some students do get in there thinking, oh, this is just going to be done. And they realize it is more difficult than they think. So they might only get that half a semester as to the full credit that they were thinking, but that's even very, very minimal. We have a very high success rate.
Fantastic.
So Ms. Burt, to Mrs. Reese's point, if I'm just doing round numbers on the slide that you put up about the number of students, those that left before we started, and then those that were removed because of attendance and or discipline, is it a fair conclusion that about 90% of the students who participated were successful and earned their credit?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
May I?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just had a couple notes here, just curious on logistics of it. When kids are signing up, like for recovery versus get ahead, is there priority given in any direction, or this is just a true reflection of what's happening?
No, ma'am, there's no, it's first come, first serve. That was the only way we could handle and manage this many scholarships. We
Right.
released it in, I believe it was January, we started registration
Correct.
last year. And so we released all of the summer school in January. And obviously, you might say there might be some disadvantage because we start with future seniors, so they kind of get a day ahead of future juniors, but it is all released. And we told them first come, first serve. We sit there and we timestamp everyone that comes through. We pull each student and say, you received your scholarship. And if a student came back and said, I'm sorry, I can't use the scholarship, we had a waiting list and we would pull the next student and say, hey, we have a spot, can you use the scholarship to be able to attend? So we were able to get them. And the other thing that Mr. DeFazio and I looked into was sometimes people will take just one semester of PE because then they're going to vacation. Or they just want to do economics because they're going to take AP government as a senior. So Mr. DeFazio and I had talked, and if we had one of those kids that was just or credit recovery for one semester, we paired them with another one semester. So basically, we weren't like, well, that's one scholarship, even though they're only doing one semester. 2 kids would be one scholarship to try to get as many students as we possibly could in on those scholarships.
We through our counseling department, when they do their grad checks, it's a great filtering system. And this is another benefit why it's great to have our summer school coordinator, also a school counselor. So when they're doing their graduation checks, we can say, hey, David, so as an example, you need to go to summer school this summer. You're not going to graduate on time unless you take summer school. So there's a check and balance there, and both of our high schools are doing that. So that's another benefit to capture all kids, whether it's retake or to get ahead.
That's really great. And then the other question I had, I know the online was something new that had to come in and shortage of teachers. I just wanted to know how it looks for the students. Are they there in a classroom on the computer with teachers that are there to help if they need? Is it asynchronous? What does it look like?
Yes, ma'am. So we did hire an Algebra 1 teacher, a geometry teacher, and an Algebra 2 teacher. They were assigned to a classroom, and Mr. Canoip was kind enough to lend us Chrome carts to each of those classrooms. And so they had their own set of 30 plus, whatever in a cow, I don't know. But they all were able to have their own individual Chromebook and all those classrooms. And then there was one teacher, and I don't think there was over, I think one room had 34 kids in it. I think it was geometry that had 34. But other than that, they were under 30. And the one teacher was in there to be able to help them and navigate them through or help them with a problem if they needed help with that.
So our online students fell under the same attendance guidelines as our in-person instruction courses. So it was not asynchronous. It was done in the classroom at their own pace, but with some content support of a person being in the room physically to help students manage their pacing and any questions related to the content.
That was it, but just an aside, that's a really great solution to a situation that was not ideal, kind of bringing in the best of both worlds so these kids could still get what they needed. But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
It's hard to believe we're meeting next week to start planning this summer. I mean, that's how much time and effort goes into it. So again, thank you, Mrs. Burr. Thank you, Mrs. Zimmerman.
Yes. Thank you, both of you. Thank you. All right, Moving on to item 8, the public online auction items. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Reese, President Reese, members of the board, you have a list of items for public auction, including quite a robust number of old Chromebooks. Mr. Villa is really initiating a methodical, thoughtful process to keep us up at a high level of fidelity and intentionality with the cycling, the planning, and the implementation of those. So there's a lot of old Chromebooks out there, along with a variety of other things for the online auction block. And so at this point, I would recommend your approval of that list so that they may be appropriately auctioned.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I just had a quick question for Mr. Villa on the Chromebooks that are available for anybody that is potentially watching. Are they usable for a student to complete homework at home? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, that helps. All right. Anything else or any other questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right. Next item is the consent agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. President Reese, members of the board, you might notice that you have arguably one of the most robust consent agendas in your packet, largely because you have, I believe, virtually all of the addenda for the entire year. But nonetheless, it is a big list, but it is still a list of matters that are considered routine and may be approved in one comprehensive motion. And so I do recommend your approval of the entire consent agenda at this time.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Possible future agenda items. Is there anyone who has any possible future agenda items that they would like to see on an upcoming agenda? Okay. We'll establish the next board meeting, October 5th at the Sahuarita School District Auditorium, this building, this room here. And that'll be again on October 5th. There's no executive session this evening, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Good evening and thank you for joining us.